Hello, my dears. How are you? It's summertime. That's what the weather tells me. How are you doing? How are you thriving during this time? Well, it's break time. It's time for tea and scones. That's what I'd like to think. And I would even have some iced tea and scones. How are you adjusting to this summertime? For me, it's been how to ease into summer and not be puzzled about how to do that comfortably. I might have mentioned that last week we took a drive, and I was surprised to see the highways and the detours and how traveling during a pandemic, what that looks like. Detours. And when I thought of detours, I actually thought of a California experience that when I think about it, it still has me traumatized. During that whole experience, we were on a unfamiliar road. We thought we were on the right road, and we kept driving up. I felt like we were driving up into heavens, and there was no side shoulder, which was a little unnerving to me. And after a while, it was decided that we would make a U-turn, an illegal U-turn, and turn around and go back to some sort of familiarity. And I just thought, wow, detours can be scary. The unfamiliar is scary. And as I ponder on that, I'm looking at this pandemic and what it has done to us. It has forced us to take some detours. If we go with that whole definition of a detour is a deviation from your original path, then certainly we have been detouring from our regular way of doing things this whole time. But that's how we got started. We've been virtually thriving, virtually sending hugs, virtually staying in touch and supporting each other, virtually sending a little love. That's what we're doing. And that is helping us to adapt. And so as we think about detours and this pandemic and all of the different ways that we've had to adjust to job changes and job losses and health and loss of lives and all sorts of different things, it has been unnerving. We have learned how to do things in novel ways. We certainly have. We have learned how to to thrive. We have learned to stay in touch and all these different things. How to use Zoom. How to, all of the different things. So why don't you tell me about the detours that this pandemic has caused you to take in your life? They all have been stressful for me. Going down a different path is always unnerving to me, especially if it's in California, because out here in the Midwest, everything is flat. The roads are flat. But out in California, the roads are hilly and steep and unknown to me. But we learn to figure it out. We learn how to adapt. But one thing we want to consider is the emotions that it evokes in us. which is probably what this unfamiliar path that we're on now is continuing, in spite of the fact that it's summer and we want to get out. It's still new. The pandemic is still here. We don't actually see it, but we're trying to maintain our protocols. And so I just want to encourage you not to forget. I don't know how you could, but in some places people are not wearing masks, and then in other places they are. But we have to remember that we want to thrive, right? So I was looking at a principle that Abraham Maslow has. I'm sure you probably remember the Maslow theory of hierarchy of needs. you know, he talks about you need food, water, and you need love, and it just builds, one thing builds on another. Well, he also has a principle that he calls the continental divide principle. Fancy name, but basically it means that if you get stressed, basically it's saying detours are not good for you. He's saying if you get stressed or you're dealing with unfamiliar areas and stress, and if you're already weak, then you're not going to do well. But if you are dealing with the same circumstances, but you're already strong, then you're going to survive. And so we already have been looking at some of the things that he suggests in this continental divide. It's that dividing line. If you are weak and stressed, then you're not going to do well. If you're strong and you're willing to regain your emotional balance, then you will do well. And so we have been doing most of the things that he has laid out in his continental principle divide. Basically, he's talking about regaining that emotional balance, probably through positivity and coping and thriving. And so I think you probably are doing this. Just wanted to remind you that stress is what's caused when you're on a detour, and stress can have different results for different people. So we want to kind of build up the areas where we're weak. That's possible. And be strong so that we can continue to thrive. How about that? So we've been doing it. So as you are easing out in the summer, wanting to renormalize your life, wanting to cope and regain your psychological well-being, then just remember, stay positive, continue doing what you're doing. And I look forward to talking to you another time. Be well. Know that I love you. And we'll talk again. Bye-bye.